So yeah, thanks for taking the time to do this. In Conversation is just a chance for us to sit down with various creatives in the industry, and it gives you a chance to explain your roots and then the stuff you've created, and gives our viewers an insight into sort of how the work's created, and some like helpful tips basically. Um, so yeah, just from yourself, let's go with how you got started as a hair and makeup artist.
So, go back 6 years ago. Basically my friends used to just hound me to do their hair and makeup on a night out, or like when we were in school. And then it just got to the point where I was like, should I start like trying to do this as an actual thing? And then I basically turned my old room at my mum's house into a little makeup studio. I think I spent like £500 of my own money on like a day bed that like folded away, studio lights, and like a chair and things like that. And then in my job at the time, I'd actually won a voucher for Look Fantastic. So I used to work at the Hut Group. So I
Hmm.
won a voucher there for £500 for like performance and like doing well in work. And I just spent all of that, used all of that on like a makeup kit, like a very, very, very basic and probably looking back cringe-worthy kit. But yeah, and then I just started like offering it out, free appointments, getting practicing. I offered £5 appointments, £10 appointments. It kind of gradually went up until I kind of jumped into doing it a little bit more frequently. I mean, people were chomping at the bit to do a £5 makeup, so I was getting a lot of practice in, but it was like in the back of my mum's like box room basically. So
Yeah.
that was yeah, like just over 6 years ago now. And then from there, I just jumped into doing like education. So some of like my favorite makeup artists and things like that went into doing that. That then led on to getting booked for a bit of work. Then I got the job at Misguided, being in house. So after I'd had training, so it's probably like 2 years later. And then following that, I went freelance back into kind of in and out of marketing roles. Whilst doing makeup on the side, and then the past like year and a half, I've really ramped up my like the makeup side of things, and it's now surpassed like what I was doing in marketing. So now I've gone full time in makeup, which feels like it's long overdue, but it was definitely the right path I chose.
Yeah, we are just saying that about that jump into it as well, and the kind of jump into the deep end and stuff. Do you feel like it was quite a quick journey? Like hearing you talk about it, it seems like it happened quite quick, and you kind of knew quite straight away, and you sort of wanted to go into it. Is that how it felt? Does it feel like it's been a quick journey?
Not really. I feel like I've lived a million lives in between, and it's crazy to say that, but I've moved around a lot. So moved out of my mum's, moved into I think 4 flats following then. So I've been here, there, and everywhere. I've had I think it's two marketing roles. Then I had promotions within the last marketing role I was in, so I actually kind of got by accident important, and I didn't mean to. And then I was like, right, this workload is too much for me. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gone quick looking back, but it's definitely like I feel like I've earned my stripes in a lot of ways. I've got a long way to go, but I think where I'm at now, obviously having that ecom and like the bridal experience and things like that, I think it's just I'm ready to just be full time doing that and not having like too many fingers in different pies about like doing marketing and then doing my like makeup and my hair and things like that. So yeah, it's gone quick, but it's also not. It feels like it's a long time coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from some of the stuff we've seen of yours, and then the stuff you sent over as well, there does look like already you've got like a big lot of variety of stuff and that. Um, what was it about the hair and makeup that what was it that early on that you loved and just made you want to do it full time? Because I know you're saying about doing like your friends' hair and makeup.
Yeah, just making other people feel good. Like that was just the best feeling if someone like I mean back then look I look back and I do cringe at some of the makeup that I did because it's just so different to how I do it now. But it's just making other few people feel nice, like and obviously now obviously working more in the bridal space, being a part of someone's like special day is like a huge thing. It feels like a big accomplishment that you've made someone feel like that on probably one of the biggest days of their life. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's like mainly the biggest thing. And I think definitely like last year when I decided to make the jump to be full-time freelance, like it's been really difficult because I was walking away from like a very decent salary. Like I knew I was going to get it every month. And I was like going into kind of, I don't know, the pits of just figuring it out and just going to make it work. But I think last year was like 2025 was 2020 dive. I don't know if that was the same for you. It wasn't a good year. It wasn't. And it just made me like, right, I'm just gonna go and fulfill my passion and like my dreams and go for it.
Hmm. So what was the in with that the in-house stuff, what was that like? What kind of experience did you get from that?
Oh, loads. Learned so much. So when I went into student in-house, it was probably like 2 years into my makeup journey at that point. And then I had no experience with hair, like at all. I didn't really have that much of like a broad clientele in terms of like skin tone, skin colouring. So going in-house as a junior, because I was a junior hair and makeup artist there, I just absorbed and like learn off all the other makeup artists around me. There were three other makeup artists in the department, plus then freelancers, because at the time they were like churning out the ecom work there. So just being kind of surrounded by that every day was amazing. I just absorbed so much information and just really started like refining my own techniques and like learning like things from the start and like fresh. So yeah, it was amazing. One of the best things I ever did.
Yeah, well, especially with it being that sort of stuff, like with the e-com stuff and those sort of companies, it's very into the deep end, isn't it? And it's very kind of every day, and it's like quick pace and that, but it's the best way. It's one of the best ways to kind of
Yeah,
learn, and you've kind of every day you're doing it, and you're sort of on it. So yeah, it feels at first it can feel like a bit overwhelming. There's a lot, but when you look back on it, you go, I've took this much out of it, and I've kind of
yeah,
managed to sort of get on my own 2 feet and do it.
yeah. And I met so many people. I think I networked with people that I'm still in touch with today. I met one of my really good friends who I ended up living with
Hmm.
as well. So, butterfly effect is so real, and I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So, yeah, it was just an amazing experience, and it's taught me so much now that I still bring to like in this day.
Yeah, well, it's another thing as well. You get so many connections from it, and yeah,
Oh
met
yeah,
people. Yeah.
100%.
Um, what was it? You mentioned that you did some like marketing as well in there.
Yes.
Yeah, how do you feel that helped? What do you think that's kind of, I mean, especially now you've gone into your own like sort of freelance, do you feel like that there's certain bits of that you've been able to take into it?
Yeah, so I think for me, having like a more like a bigger understanding of like social media, understanding different revenue income, and like realistically nowadays you can't just be a makeup artist or a hairstylist. You do have to build your brand. You have to be aware of how you're presenting yourself online, because at the end of the day that's where you get your bookings from more
Mhm.
often than not, and also networking with people. So it's one of the quickest ways to grow your clientele and also grow your network connections. So the marketing that I did was influencer and affiliate marketing, and I ended up becoming a senior affiliate manager. So I was like one below like the head of the department. It was not the right route for me at all. So I knew I needed to get out of it. But doing that, I was managing multiple different clients' accounts and just knew everything about everything in terms of that world and the rates and things that people are charging for social media content, how you can earn like commission on selling products. And that's a big thing I think for a creative, and especially in like the makeup and hair industry, it's absolutely booming on like social media. So having an understanding of like your Amazon storefront, TikTok shop, affiliate platforms like Shop My, LTK, things like that, there's so much more to like having a makeup career now and having like passive income coming through, because at the end of the day you are going to get slow seasons like January, February. So it's understanding like how can you kind of work around that, how can you caveat the fact that you're probably not going to have as many bookings because people aren't going out as much, or people aren't getting married in January, or like shoots might be slower at that point and they might pick up in the summer. So having those like different revenue like streams and incomes is really important. So it's been, I wouldn't change my journey at all, because everything that I've learned I feel like it's really invaluable to me now, and understanding even things like tracking links and things like that technical stuff, which probably might looking at me might not think I know that much about, but I know quite a lot about the kind of the industry in that way, and negotiations, what kind of the rates should be looking like if you're doing sponsored ads, posts, if you can get your commission rate up by another 5%, it will make the difference overall. So yeah, it's been amazing to do it all, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's a great like weapon to have in your armory as well as going into that because, like I say, especially you're competing with so many other people as well, and there's that many people in the industry, and then to have that um, not being able to like you don't just have to reach out for that, that stuff yourself. So to have that yourself to help support your own stuff is I think it's a really good thing to have.
Yeah. I think a lot of creatives should like utilize that more, like get more into it. But it's like what even how does it work? How do you get into it? But I think when you have an understanding, it's quite basic. But yeah, I definitely think that that's helped me massively in terms of like generating additional income outside of bookings.
Yeah. Well, it's good to, like I say, to have that route, bring like, but build up all that knowledge of that, have that, and then go into the freelance, and you've got that, like I
Yeah.
say, that weapon to sort of to carry with you into it. And yeah, it should be very helpful for you then. It should, yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah, yeah.
hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed.
Um, with some of your training, I think I've seen that you trained, and you've mentioned on the website that you trained under Sophie Vijay and Abby Christopher. Um, yeah, I think you put on there about that being like a big experience. How was that? How did that help you early on with your experience?
It was amazing. So I did all my makeup training with the two makeup artists that you mentioned, and then I did my hair training last year with another hair and makeup artist, Yasmin Schwitzer, and going taking a step back and actually learning off people who are already successful in the industry is like a huge thing, and probably and I feel like I'm going to continue doing that throughout my career now. So I've got like two masterclass booked in this year for hair and one for makeup. So I'm not going to stop that learning and development. I think you might think, oh, you already know how you're doing things, but there's tips, tricks, speaking to people, networking with them. It's like it was very pivotal in my career doing that. And it also means that you've got people that can vouch for you, that you know you've trained with these people who are very successful. You
Mhm.
know how they work, and other people will like see that and trust that. So it adds an element of like credibility to who you are and the work that you do.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was huge. And following doing the makeup training, I did start getting booked more work, and my techniques were just more refined. And I'm constantly learning. I'm not where I want to be. I don't think I ever will be because it's just the nature of the job. But just ensuring that like I'm still striving for more and like learning is definitely a key part.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that as well. Like you say that you've done that sort of stuff, but you're going to keep doing it. It's like I
Yeah,
think sometimes we
100%.
hear like, "Oh, I did the training with them, that was it." But I think to, like I say, to keep going with it and sort of keep developing with it, it's like an ongoing thing, basically.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, nothing's ever still, and the industry's constantly moving. So it's like other people are learning other things and even just like absorbing what they're telling you. It makes such a difference.
Absolutely. Um, right, yeah, we'll go into some of the images. Yeah. So well, I thought we'll start first with the wedding stuff. So did you say the bridal stuff was that earlier on, or was that you kind of did that and then the in-house stuff as well? Or
Oh yeah, I think when I was in-house, I was kind of assisting with some bridal kind of jobs. So it was like I was doing like bridesmaids, or I was doing like mother of the bride, and I wasn't necessarily doing the bride. I was like assisting other makeup artists, or people would recommend me to work with me. And I remember my first ever wedding that I did. It was, I think I charged like £40 per person, no travel fee. It a booking, and I'm like, the difference is just immense. So that's kind of how I fell into it, just like word of mouth, and then assisting people, and then building up my own like portfolio of weddings that I'd done. It was like quite slow to start with, because ecom was kind of like taking over that. But then when I moved away from doing the ecom, I moved much more into doing appointments and bridal, and that kind of the past year has really, really ramped up. The past 2 years probably, and now it's like I get fully booked pretty much, and hopefully like ongoing fully booked, but just in terms of like getting the brides in and stuff. So yeah, it's been crazy kind of how I've fallen into it, but I have fallen in love with a bridal like booking and like the weddings, because it's a very personal experience and I'm very personable, so it fits me quite well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you definitely have to be. It does help to be a certain type of person for that sort of job as well.
Yeah.
And then I've done not many, but I've done a few weddings myself. But I put it off for years because of that, the kind of pressure of it the one day. But I think, like you say, there is something so different about it where it's such a personal thing, and it's like I say, if you get it right, it's like it just feels so great because you can see how much it means to them. Do you like that balance of having that with the fashion stuff as well, and do you like having the mix of stuff?
I love it. I think I haven't found anything that I don't enjoy in the industry yet. I think like commercially, like editorial and things like that come at probably, I feel like they're a higher pressure job than a bride is to me now, which is weird because it didn't used to feel like that. I used to not sleep before a wedding, like just couldn't sleep. But yeah, I think finding that balance of like having a mix of different opportunities is something that I will continue to do like throughout my career, hopefully. Definitely want to branch more into doing more ecom again, because I kind of had to drop that when I did go full time. So now that I'm not, I do have like midweek because they work like a 9 to 5, don't they? Like a generic shoot
Yeah.
day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and you can't do that when you've got a full time job. So I was kind of leaning in more, way more on my like bridal and obviously appointments. But I think going full time now, I've jumped into I've got like 3 test shoots coming up. So multiple different models, full day shoots, just collabing with people, not getting paid for it, but just updating my portfolio. Because to be honest, I just want those images that are like going to be seen by people who are booking makeup artists by on shoots and things, and working more on like male grooming as well is a really big thing at the minute, especially within like the football industry or like the sports industry. So yeah, it's kind of the possibilities are endless with it, but I just want to make sure that I'm not like leaving any stone unturned, basically.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean about. I think it's nice to have that variety, especially from like your side as well as like makeup artists, to have that variety in the work, and then
Mhm.
I think it keeps you enjoying it as well, and it keeps you
Yeah.
interested. Yeah, definitely, and I think like I say with the testing as well, it's testing something. I was going to talk about one of the images later as well. So, do you feel that's like a big like we were just saying about like the ongoing thing with the learning and sort of the training, and that's going to be an ongoing thing? Do you think the same with the testing? Do you feel like that's something to just keep constantly doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I'd ever, unless I had like a paid job, if someone asked me if I would test with them, I probably would. If I was free, I would probably just do it because you're networking again, like straight back to the basics. You're networking with people, you're updating your portfolio, you're keeping it fresh. You can, if you're a brand new makeup artist going into the space and you've never done an e-com shoot or you've never been in anything commercial, you won't know what studio lighting is like, and you won't know potentially how to refine your work or how to make it look better on camera. Obviously, speaking with photographers, understanding how they're going to be setting up the lighting and shoots and things like that will come into play as well. So I think it just adds to kind of your experience and how you can handle like working in a set or on a shoot and doing testing. But yeah, it's definitely a big thing that I'll continue to do.
Yeah, I think it's great for that, and as well like assessing it every now and again, and then being like, oh, what do I need? And you can be quite sort of picky and be like, oh, what do I need in my book? What do I need? So if the
Absolutely.
test shoot's right, I need that certain type of shoot, or
Yeah.
I need a bit of active wear in my book or anything like that. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want.
Definitely. Do you do a lot of test shoots, David, or?
I did in the past more, not as much as recently. But I will. I'll be a bit more like I was just saying. Then I'll be quite specific because it's kind of me setting up and like doing the whole like the concept of it and everything like that as well. I'll be very
Particular.
yeah. I feel like I've been a bit more selective with it.
Mhm.
I think in the past, but I do like in the past when I was just starting with the like I started and I was in full time with a company, and it was like the e-com stuff and all that as well. But in my spare time, I was doing test shoots loads just to sort of like say just to gain experience and work like
Yeah.
network and build with people and all that. So I think I feel like it's definitely something to still keep doing. But then like we're saying, it's being quite you feel like you get to a point where you can be like, oh, I can be a bit more
You
selective
just
over it.
refine it, don't you? Because
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, you've got work that's like speaks volumes about like your skill and things like that. You don't necessarily need to do that again, but yeah, like you mentioned, if you need something particular for me, like I would need probably more like natural, very, very soft, like no makeup looks in terms of like the e-com style. So that's like what my next shoots are going to be like. I've got some kind of fun campaigns that we're doing, but then like a lot of it is very like stripped back because that's what people are hiring for now. They want to see, can you do no makeup stripped back that
Mhm.
photographs really well and makes the model look like she's not got anything on. So that's like what I'm doing in the next like month. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It feels better because you feel like you can just be like, right, yeah, I know what I need to get. And yeah, as opposed to, it's great in the early days of being like, oh, I'll do a bit of everything, do all that sort of stuff. But then you get to the point when it feels nice to be like, right, I can refine it and sort of be more selective.
Yeah.
Some of the other images you sent. So there's some of the campaign ones. So there's the misguided ones.
Yes.
So I've got the one with the three girls in the sort of active wear, and then there's also the one with is throwing the money. Was that the same? Is that misguided as well?
That was my first ever campaign shoot
Oh,
um,
okay.
that I ever did. That was rebellious fashion.
Oh,
That
that was
was
rebellious. Yeah.
a good while ago. Like the images, like I said, are probably from quite a while ago. But that one was my first one, and I'll never forget it because I had no idea what I was doing at that shoot. I was like, okay, I'm just going to make a really, really nice makeup. I said I couldn't do hair, so they just booked me. I think they paid me £100 for the day. And I just was like, I just didn't have any experience. I just didn't know anything. But the images were fantastic. Like the team that we worked with was amazing. But looking back, I wish I could have kind of given myself some advice as to what to do, but you just don't know when you're in that situation. I genuinely was thrown in the deep end. The work looked great, thankfully, but the actual kind of the way I was on set completely changed versus how I did like my misguided campaign there. So it's like more attentive, more on it, just kind of making sure that I'm asking like the right questions, make sure I'm being involved with the stylist and the photographer if there's anything they need me changing things. But it was a pretty laid back shoot that we did, which is good. But it's just things like knowing that you just need to keep checking the makeup like every 20 minutes, like not even 20 minutes, like just constantly just making sure you're on it, checking all the shots.
Yeah.
And then if you need to do a touch up, it's probably quite frequent that you do it. Obviously, I know that now, it's like second nature to me. But if you're a new makeup artist starting out, you probably don't realize like how much you do need to get involved in a shoot.
Yeah.
You don't just do your makeup and leave, like you have to be involved.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be one of my questions as well about the well, first of all, like, yeah, I like the honesty of that. Like I say, where you go into it and you're like, yeah, there was those early days where you feel like, oh, like not like you obviously know what you're doing, but that feeling
No,
of
no, I
yeah,
did. I felt like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I even
yeah,
said that. Like, I was like, "Oh, this is my first shoot." Like, I'm like, I was good at doing the makeup. They booked me for
hmm
the makeup, but it was just like, and I wasn't, rude or anything. I was just there on set. I just didn't really know what to do. I just didn't really get it. I didn't know what to do because I hadn't had that experience. So I think I can hold my hands up and say that like no one's gonna know everything when you start a new job or things like that either. So yeah, it's a big learning experience for me. And since then I've just been kind of making sure that I like develop on like that. But it's been a long time since then. I think it's been a good 4 years since 4 or 5 years since then. So yeah, but again, like people will go into doing like a role or something, feel like that imposter syndrome or something like that. And it's fine, you can just ask. Or now, back then, there probably wasn't any information on kind of what you should do on a shoot or how shoots go or day in a life vlog of a shoot and things. That wasn't probably there then, but it is now. It's all like widely available on like TikTok and Instagram. Like you could go on anybody's page and probably find it. So yeah, I think that's just obviously that quite a pivotal moment in McCleary, that first campaign. Not really knowing what I was doing, but the images still looked good, so I was really happy with it. And then obviously going into the misguided campaign, I did. I think she's on the very, very left, but it worked like as a collaboration with two other makeup artists.
okay.
Got my work in there, like an active wear campaign. It's really fresh makeup, looked really beautiful. And yeah, just really proud of that one.
Yeah, so by the time, how do you feel you changed by the time you got into this one? So this, how much later was this one, the misguided, compared to the rebellious one?
Like a year after. So I'd had like a lot of experience in-house at that point. So I kind of picked up on what other people were doing. I was absorbing everything that they were doing. And again, like I was the junior there. So everybody knew that I was there to learn as well. So there wasn't, you know, that element of she needs to be doing X, Y, Z. But like I was just picking up off everybody else and asking a lot more questions. So yeah, don't be afraid to like ask questions if you don't know what you're doing. But yeah, definitely beneficial like being in-house and just learning everything I possibly could off other people.
hmm And you mentioned as well, I think with the previous image you mentioned about the, yeah, that's one of the questions I was going to ask about weight, like jumping in and all that stuff. Do you feel that's something that, were you doing that early on? Did that come quite naturally, or do you feel like, first of all, do you want to do that on the set? Do you want to be like really involved and kind of jumping in and out?
Yeah, to an extent, like I obviously don't want to get in the way of a shot. Like if the hair, I am involved in the sense that like I'm not going to go on my phone whilst we're shooting. Like I'm working. I'm going to make sure that I'm one involved with everybody, making sure the stylist might have a way that they want to have the hair shot whilst they've got X type of like clothing on. So coats, do they want the hair tucked? Do they want it out? Little things like that that do make the difference for a stylist, so they don't have to be thinking that hair needs to be moved, or do they want wind blowing? I'm sure you've had experience with things like that where you've got like wind on set. How do they want that shot to look? What do they want it to be like? Just having an understanding. So I'll always ask questions. I don't want to come across like I'm just getting in the way of every single shot because at the end of the day we have a job to do. If we've got like a rail that we need to shoot through, we've got to shoot through the rail. But just making sure that I'm more attentive on it. I'm checking each shot if there's any close-ups of the face, lips, any shine on the head, things like that, really. So yeah, I'm definitely very involved. I wouldn't ever sit back and just like let the shoot just continue.
Hmm.
Got to be involved. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. And I don't know if you can speak for photographers, but they do appreciate it when you're
Yeah.
like attentive and you're like speaking to them about like what they want things to look like. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
huge thing.
yeah. I was just about to say. I mean, me personally, I quite like when you've got a big team, but I like when everyone feels as passionate about it. I think so, obviously everyone's different, but sometimes you'll be there, and I think it does feel a bit of a difference when if you got a team and someone's not as involved as much or doesn't seem that bothered. I feel like when people are every party like really passionate about what they want to do and bring their own, and it makes a difference as well, and it does make a big difference to the images.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously teamwork's a big thing. Like at the end of the day, there might be like, say there's the photographer, the stylist, and the hair and makeup artist. There's three of you on that set. You've got a job to do. You want to get it done, but good, like high quality. So if you're working together, it's going to be quicker, be easier, and you probably enjoy the day more, to be honest.
Hmm.
Rather than if someone's like not paying attention on the phone, just letting the photographer take the photos and the stylist running around like clipping and things like that with all the clothing. So yeah, makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. I've really noticed it on set, so definitely. Um, with the bridal stuff and then the fashion stuff, and do you feel like, I mean, other than like obviously the actual schedule for the day, but do you feel like you have like a different approach of how you approach each of them? Say, for example, how you're working with like the bride or anyone like that compared to when you're on set in like a fashion. Do you feel like your approach is different, or how you sort of how you speak with them, or how you act, or how you approach the makeup?
Any job that I get, I'll always be myself. I'm quite a chatty, like personable person anyway. I think bringing like a bit of a calming presence to any situation is the best thing to do. So bridal is more than likely somebody's really nervous or they're stressed, and they want to, they might be. I don't know. They might be a bridezilla, and they might not. Luckily, I've not had many, so I'll be fine in that situation. Um, but what I would say is like somebody's might be finding it really difficult to get through the morning, or they might be like a little bit nervous. And it's like just having the energy to just kind of bring the peace and the calm back is really important for like a bridal morning. Obviously, I've been up at 3 a.m. earlier sometimes, might as well not gone to sleep because you've got to do this big like drive 2 hours, something like that, get to the venue, set up, then it's go 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 basically for the morning. So it's just making sure that you're organized and prepared, and I think that kind of is exactly the same as a shoot. You need to understand the brief, understand what is expected of you, obviously speak to the model, like allergies, things like that kind of is the exact same thing, and just having that calm presence. You don't want to come across like you're unorganized, unhygienic, following the same kind of practices in that essence. So yeah, just like making sure I would always bring myself to the table. Like I'm never going to change who I am, but I am quite a chatty person, very friendly, and I'm not going to just like tone it down or like just be silent because I'm nervous. I'll just kind of put a front on and think I'm fine. Like you won't know I'm nervous. So um, yeah, that's how I would probably approach both of them.
Yeah, nice. Um, and yeah, into the te so the last image I got was like the test shoots. I was going to talk about so that one with Anya, like the black and white image.
Yeah.
Um, and there was another one you sent over as well. So with those, yeah, the test shoots, we've briefly mentioned it, but yeah, like the kind of benefits. What do you feel like the benefits are from from these ones? Was this one quite recently? This one that you
Yeah,
sent
not
over?
too long. Again, it was probably a good few years ago because I've just not been in the ecom world for a little while. But I've done the odd shoot here and there. I've just not got the images for them. Like I've done some commercial stuff for like ecom online, for brands and things, or like I did like a commercial, an actual commercial for TV. So stuff like that. I've not necessarily got like that in my portfolio. But for example, these test shoots, it was kind of a bit like just collaborating with the photographers. I think it was Helen. girl called Ellie Bates as well for the stylist. We kind of just collaborated. We want to kind of do something a little bit different because you wouldn't necessarily get the opportunity to do that in like the ecom world. So just doing something a little bit more high end, something a bit more funky, and just going with that basically.
Hmm. And so how did you the one with on your how did you yeah, how did you create that look? Because again, was that something where you'd speak to the photographer about like the type of lighting they're going to have with it as well and sort of adapt it with that? And then she's got like the
Yeah,
wet hair and stuff.
yeah, pretty much. We just kind of discussed like what we want it to look like, and we thought black and white would probably be more like it would stand out more. So it would be like, right, well, we can do kind of what we want with the makeup. So I was like, we'll do a dark eye, have the hair in front of the face, the wet kind of look on the hair. It looks quite high fashion, so it turned out really nicely. All of the images we got from that shoot were really nice, and we had like different levels to how we were taking the photos, but all in black and white. So that was nice to add to my portfolio because I wouldn't necessarily get that. And
Mhm.
then also the one of Talita, the blonde girl. Um, that was just really nice to do because it was more like of a styling shoot. So it wasn't necessarily for me, but they were like, just do what you want with the makeup. And I thought, let's just do something like a really nice sharp wing liner, glowy skin, and just like have something quite striking.
Mhm.
So again, yeah, just collaborating, speaking with the vision of like what the stylist and the photographer wants to do. But I was lucky that I did have a bit of creative freedom myself as well.
Yeah, yeah. Do you like like with the images as well, because it works so well, especially that's what I was saying about with the lighting as well, and that kind of strong light on it. Do you like having a bit of that freedom to yourself as well? Do you kind of like it when someone says that of like, oh yeah, just kind of do what you want or bring your own sort of spin to it?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I can understand what we're all trying to achieve and picture, I can put kind of my ideas together. So, for example, I've got a shoot coming up soon, and they were like, "This is what we're thinking, but we want to see what you think. This is the vibe. Have you like? Have you seen anything you like?" And there might be stuff where I've been like, "Oh my God, I've seen this product. Maybe we can use, or there's this technique that we can use that would work perfectly for this kind of shoot." So it's like a Valentine's Day shoot that we're doing. So it's
Hmm.
like for me, that's like really pinky peachy blush, really like soft elegant vibes, and like maybe they had like a different version, but that to me is like screams like the right thing for the shoot. So yeah, it's great to just be able to collab with each other and like throw ideas around, bounce them around. So it's always good when you're creative and in the industry 'cause you can just chat about loads of stuff.
Yeah, well, like we were saying earlier as well about it gives you a yeah like a bit of a chance to kind of to like bring your own elements to it as well as opposed to obviously it depends on the specific shoot. Sometimes it's very like it's got to be this, it's this kind of thing.
Oh,
But
100%.
when there's ones like that where it's like very open to like your interpretation or what you want to bring to it, it's nice because you feel like everyone's getting the chance to kind of put their input into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever done you don't have to say any like specific, but have you ever done any shoot? Because I've from this is what I've gathered as well, of like talking with different like creatives and stuff and like models and makeup artists and everything. Obviously, I'm so used to knowing exactly how it's looking straight away. Do you obviously on sets you will have like the laptops or you can see the screens a bit now, but do you ever get sometimes where you've done some shoots or you just a bit like, oh, it's not kind of how it kind of I was envisioning it would come out?
I suppose not. I think everyone will have an off day. I think whether it looks like an off day or not to other people, I think every single person in every job ever will have an off day, or they'll think, "Oh my God, I've done a really bad job there," and you probably haven't. More than likely, you're probably just doubting yourself, and that's when like the imposter syndrome and the self doubt creeps in. So I'm quite. I'm always open to learn. If I ever think something's not quite right or things need changing, I would rather take on that criticism or even like that just to develop further. So probably short answer, yeah, I think that's probably happened. I can't think of a time where it has, but I do think probably when I was a bit younger and I kind of didn't have thicker skin than I do now, and just kind of starting out in the industry, you do second guess yourself a lot. You do think I'm not doing a good job, but I look back now at some of the images I got when I was maybe 4 years younger, and I think I did a really good job for like the experience that I did, and in that high pressure environment, I was working with other makeup artists probably like 5 to 10 years older than me, and just kind of not giving up, persevering with it is probably the biggest thing, and just not letting that self doubt creep in. But I think every single person in the creative industry will have those days where you doubt yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, well, I've had yeah, like similar things as well, and I think it's just quite a nice perspective like for me to think of, like I say, because I'm so used to just seeing everything as it's created. So it's very nice to hear from the other side of things, and then sort of yeah, like your opinion afterwards of when you see stuff after. And obviously there's that waiting period as well, because
Oh, yeah,
you
100%.
might be waiting for like weeks or something, and then there might be shoots you go, oh yeah, like forgot about that, or yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's everything. I think we've yeah, everything's great. Just one more thing, just super quick, but have you got any, we've probably covered quite a bit of it there, but any bits of advice for like anyone who's just jumping into makeup, hair and makeup?
Um, assist everybody that you can, possible. Don't turn down any work. Say yes to everything. I think, regardless if you're getting paid or not, obviously to an extent, like you might need to pay the bills, but I don't know that many makeup artists that do jump straight into full-time makeup work. I typically starts off as like a hobby that starts doing all right, and then you think, oh my god, I could make a career out of this. Perseverance is like the biggest thing I think as a makeup artist, and you know, absorbing everything you can off other people, investing in your education is probably the biggest tip I've got. But yeah, consistency, showing up, learning about like if you do want to take it seriously, like what different revenue and like income and streams can you have? Like don't just solely rely on you providing a service. There's so many different ways you can kind of make money as a makeup artist. So yeah, and I think probably the last thing is just remember like you are your brand. Like I'm Leah Fenwick, like makeup, well hair and makeup now. But it's like every time you show up to a job, every time you show up on set, think about the way you're presenting yourself. Think about what other people are thinking of you. First impressions do mean a lot, and they do make a lot. And it might be that you make a really good impression, you do a really great job, and then they book you continuously for the next 4 or 5 years, and you then get recommended, and then it kind of word of mouth, things like that. Because we know social media will blow you up, like on Instagram if you keep posting and things, but realistically, it's just making sure that you're showing up and you're just being yourself.